Hi all, I'm Eric. I'm working on a tactical fantasy D20 game called Fool's Errand. As part of this round of Tabletop Community Spotlight, thanks Zarek and Peter, we're discussing our rules on death, dying, and failure. To that end, I'll go over the rules for death in Fool's Errand. When you are reduced to 0 health, you die. Maybe I should walk this back and talk about why there's so little there. A lot of games have this mechanic where you lie down for a while before dying. D&D has had this since negative hit points. It's also common in team-based video games. Usually modern versions have a countdown. It's a tense moment. Your allies have to raise you in the middle of whatever pressure killed you to begin with. Sometimes they carve out an exception to die on your feet in a blaze of glory. I tested a similar mechanic for Fool's Errand. I liked the look of something similar from the Daggerheart playtest. Without getting into the details, you could lie down and die slowly, or you could do more and die fast, and it didn't test well for my goals. The lie down in D&D was at least partially a patch for unfair death, turn 1 kills that were unreasonably difficult to avoid. My health mechanics and action economy were built around removing this situation on the front end. The tense rescue of an ally kind of locks the party into a losing fight. My game is about fleeing and pursuit, so this runs directly counter to what I want to see. Finally, the decision angle just felt a little weird. Part of that might have been the playtest format itself. You're never playing this guy again, regardless. But that points to the kind of weird, above-table interference that can happen with death decisions. It can pull players out of the game in ways I didn't anticipate. So I scrapped the rule and went with death at 0 as a placeholder. I figured I'd build something better later. Continued testing, and death at 0 rocks. Turns out this is the simplest way to die on your feet. No penalties on the way out. If you're not dead, you and your party can flee, and the GM doesn't have to decide if these enemies would commit war crimes to stop you healing. That said, death is a bit final. Your character's story ends. Your player presumably sits out the game for a bit. Ideally, you're either not dying regularly or you're bouncing back pretty quickly. Fool's Errand is in the not dying regularly camp, so it needed some non-death stakes for failure and a framework that doesn't mechanically treat fleeing itself as a failure, whatever the story might say about it. Because again, I want players fleeing. I want that to be fun for them. So KO, capture, maybe wounds are ruled out by my constraints. If they can persistently stop players running, they're just not a match here. What I've gone with instead is economy, because characters can still run when they're broke. Fool's Errand is one of those 2 health pool games, with the deeper damage being slower and more expensive to heal. You see similar mechanics in any shield shooter, where dipping into the red health bar tells the player to run and get their blue shield bar back. Here, you recover health in town, or stress by taking a breather. In this particular case, damage increases your stress until it exceeds your health. Then it decreases your health until you hit 0 and die. So staying in a fight reduces the maximum damage you can take at the start of the next fight. In this way, health damage also works a little like Vile damage in the D&D 3.5 supplement Book of Vile Darkness, or like radiation in Fallout 4. It ratchets up the tension over the course of an adventure until it becomes a clear signal to go home and rest. Resting in the town in Fool's Errand is built around a lodgings system. You pay money to recover resources and buy advancement. Different lodgings give different benefits at different prices. So if you played cautiously, you might be buying reserves at the tavern and experience at the guild. If you played recklessly, you might be forking over a lot more money to get health back at a temple. To bring it back to death and failure, this creates a gradient of stakes over the course of the fight. If you pick a big fight and take too much stress, you just run. If you stay and take health, you're looking at fragility, medical bills, and slowed advancement. If you stay to the end of your health pool, death.